Welcome back to the Faith and Workout with yours truly, Anthony Knight.
Yeah, Christopher White.
And we're going to start off like we do every morning with a quote of the day. It says, life has no limitations except the ones you make. Short, sweet to the point.
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. White, you got an article over there that you want to start with, so let's let you ride with it.
Yeah, today we have where it says that 3 arrested after a child nearly died from fentanyl. Another drinking live maggots, Georgia deputies say. And it says that Augusta, Georgia deputies have arrested 3 people after they said investigators found a child on the verge of dying from a fentanyl overdose, another who appeared to be burned, and a third who was drinking from a bottle that had maggots inside. According to an incident report obtained by Channel 2 Action News, deputies from the Richmond County Sheriff officials said that they were called to be a home alone Howard Road in Augusta for a 3-year-old who was unresponsive after possibly ingesting narcotics. When the deputies got the home, he learned the firefighter EMS who were already there had given the child a Narcan after observing the child to be semi-lucid and semi-conscious. The 3-year-old was rushed to a nearby hospital where the child received another dose of Narcan after testing positive for fentanyl in the child's blood and urine. Medical staff told deputies that the child was in critical condition and almost died. The child said to be stable now, but while at the house, the responding deputy said that they found another 1-year-old child had visible injuries, according to the incident report. Deputies and EMS observed had visible burns on his arm and hand as well as his back. They were in distinct patterns such as an iron or a grill pan grate, report said. The 1-year-old was taken to the hospital as well in treatment. When they got to the hospital, medical staff noticed that the bottle that the child had been drinking had live maggots inside of it.
And where did this happen at?
This is in Augusta, Georgia.
Right down the street, basically.
Yes.
So we got 3 irresponsible people. And I think I'm being nice when I call them irresponsible. Drug addicts, basically. That's what they were. And not only, okay, it's one thing to hurt yourself. It's another thing to hurt your kids, though. Who does that? Who honestly does that? I'm a loss for words. I'm be honest with you. I'm kind of a loss for words. But you would, the same drugs you taking, they found in the kid's body, and that was not just those. There was 2 more in the house, correct?
But the sad part is it's intentional. Now, I women that pregnant or however that works, man, I don't know exactly how they work, but when if they're a drug user while carrying, when the child is born, the baby's going to automatically have those drugs in the system. I guess it's for women only, though.
But this ain't the case, right?
This is not the case because this child is 3 years old now.
So how did they get the what amphetamine or something like that?
Yeah.
How did they put it in a cup, or how did they get it into the kids? Did they say?
They didn't exactly say.
But the point is, the kids had it in their system.
That's the whole idea. And I read it, and some of these articles don't have all of it because not only were, these kids are being mistreated really bad. They spoke as the 1-year-old, he had burns on him, or
Grill burns.
Grill burns, or
how do you get grill burns on him?
Those that
that's intentionally.
Yeah,
that's intentional.
Or from a iron. And we always seen the episode of Good Time with Penny, and how she acted, and
the bottle is there's no excuse for that. Well, there's no excuse for any of it.
None of it,
But the maggots in the bottle that's embarrassing. There,
I don't care.
they should never be let out. They kids should never be back in their possession again. And I hate to say that, but based on what they did, why would you give the kids back to them? There's no reason.
Whoever they do give them back, then they need to be arrested and locked away too.
I agree.
You know,
You don't need
it's
kids
a
like
penalty for that. But not only that, is also that there was no running water, no electricity. You know, so
And this just happened recently, right?
I think,
So I'm looking at
about,
the summertime.
yes, sir.
That's not the time for that now. It's too hot for that.
But
Even
not
in
only
Georgia.
that, but it's also buckets in the house.
Oh yeah. Waste.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it
Pretty
nicely,
much,
waste.
So
You can care.
not a care in the world, but then also got cocaine, different types of drugs found in the house as well. Then they had 2 more kids.
They were older, weren't they?
No, one of them was, I believe it was 18 months, 8 months.
That ain't good. That still ain't
So, you know, sometimes, you know, when doctors and, you know, maybe they weren't even going to the doctor, but they
Couldn't have.
conditions that
Because
they are reported.
If they went to the doctor,
But-
when you take your son to the doctor, don't they do kind of lab or blood test or something like
But
that?
here's the funny thing is if you they got a 1-year-old, okay.
Mm.
So there was no test when she was pregnant anywhere.
Evidently not.
As far
from
as
what I read, it wasn't.
or unless she just didn't go to the doctor and just,
That too.
you know, I mean the world is so crazy right now that there was another young lady. She had a newborn baby. She drowned it in the toilet because she didn't want the police to find drugs in the baby's system.
So now you're going to jail for murder. So how did that? But that's what the drugs do. It gets you thinking backwards. But you think, okay, I can do this and get away with it. But you're going from bad to worse.
I think it just stopped your thinking completely.
Has to.
You know.
It stopped them 3. That was a black couple, three people, right?
Yes, sir.
2 women and a man.
2 women.
2 women and a man. And all of them got arrested, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they should be arrested.
Yeah.
And did they ever mention the charges? Because I know it's neglect got to be one. Child abuse got to be the other one. Because if you find grill marks on a kid, wouldn't that be child abuse?
The article didn't exactly say exactly all the charges that were over here, but now it's the terms are put down different. It's not necessarily neglect. They have this other terms they put down that
Abuse
you have to do a little background and research.
should be abuse. Because it's doggone neglect because you ain't feeding them. Because if you found maggots in the bottle, you ain't feeding them. Can't be. And the one thing I am glad of, because I think they did a welfare check.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad.
But
they did
no, they got a call that it was a 3-year-old unresponsive.
None of them died though, right? Okay, that's
They
one.
did say that they was in critical condition, but the ambulance and the ambulance and the firefighter was already there, and they had already gave the baby a drug to reverse it.
Where these people, family members, did they try to call and contact them to see if they was their grandkids was alright or anything? Because from the looks of the picture, they said a picture's worth 1,000 words. That one's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
You gotta do
They
better.
probably didn't even deal with them. You know.
Probably did. Are they praying?
You know,
Probably
probably didn't deal with them. You
Yeah.
know, when it's different when you got someone that's strung out on drugs and it does not mean that you don't love them,
Mm-hmm.
but tough love is something that's it's sometimes the only thing that can help you out. You know,
But they gotta. If
you got to fall to, as my pastor said, he said that you have to, when you fall completely flat on your face,
Mm-hmm.
he said you ain't got no but one choice to do.
Yeah.
That's to go up. Now, ain't no telling how long you going to stay down there and be on your face. It's up to you.
But it seemed like they
But
didn't
you
want to
got-
get up.
Nah,
They had no desire to get up because it doesn't say how long this was going on. It just says when they caught them or when they did. Somebody called and said a 3-year-old was unresponsive.
Yeah, and you got an 8-year-old and another 8-month-old that they was getting them checked out as well.
So parents, how could you do your kids like this? Besides the drugs, we know the drugs done took completely over you at that point.
You nice on them ain't parents. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a little.
I don't know what I try to be a parent to the best of my ability,
Yeah.
but that there I don't. No,
You gotta be a heartless.
don't cheat me.
I'm just saying you gotta be heartless.
But you call these parents, don't cheat me.
Well, no. I don't know what they were. They played parents. How about that? You played the role of a parent.
Parent ain't nowhere in.
Well, you can play one. You can
no,
play one on TV.
You ain't gonna play that role. You didn't even play that.
What do you call? What do you call them?
Childbearer.
One of them ain't.
I don't. Well, they doesn't say exactly who the parents are, but now 2 men, two women and a man. You got a 1-year-old and an 8-month-old.
I know the man ain't bearing.
Well,
I know the other two probably.
But
Did
they gonna be sisters and brothers.
Did they say the relationship between the two women? They didn't say the relationship. One of them should have had some sense in her. All I'm saying, one of them should say, you know what? No, I ain't gonna even say that. When you talking drugs, you ain't got no sense. All your sense is gone.
If you got sense,
Well, if you had sense, you would have been on drugs in the first place.
Yeah.
But you just still don't do. You at some point, you gotta. If you don't care about yourself, care about your kids.
Life doesn't matter.
Well, when you're on drugs, it don't.
Life doesn't matter. One thing that matters right now.
Well, they locked up right now. That don't even matter. Just
That don't even matter. Well, after them drugs were out for a little while, and they sit there and hopefully it's the drugs that made them have this type of reaction. So after the drugs now, a lot of reality gonna kick in.
Well,
See, we'll do a lot of things now,
mm-hmm.
and whenever we make a choice has good or bad consequences. Either way, you make a bad choice, you got bad consequences. You make a good choice, that's the way that we hope it works.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But most of our life is choice.
How about horrible choice? That was a horrible choice.
I got about it. How about just downright dumb choice?
Well, that fits the criteria.
And you made it downright just
Now,
dumb choice.
sometimes, not in all cases, I don't think it's in this case. I've talked to people who was on drugs, and they said life just beat them down, and they just succumbed to it. But you have to be stronger than that, though. You can't always go to, because it's just like when you hear somebody say, well, I smoked this to get away from my problems.
Uh-huh.
Well, once you come back down, is that problem still there? You still got to deal with it.
I was in a courtroom one time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a guy there. He was strung out on drugs. He was on parole, and he was missing his parole meetings and everything. And he went to talking to the judge. But then I kept listening to what he was saying. I just kept listening. But then he said one word that came. He said, but when my carnal mind Now, when you speak of termination of describing your mind, you got some sense of a little bit of sense up there somewhere. Now, you got something kicking in somewhere. And he explained it. He said, Your Honor. He said, "No, I don't." He said, "I got grandkids." He said, "Yeah." He said, "I need help." He said, "And I could do good for a while." But he said, when it hit, he said it's a hunger that just come down through me. And he said, "I got to get it." And he said, "But this is not the way that I want my grandkids to remember me." But he said, "Your Honor, I need some help."
At least he asked for help.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
You know, when you can admit that you have a problem. I got a problem. I can't help myself. I can't get no help until I admit
that you need help.
I'm alcoholic.
That's true. The first step is admitting that you have a problem.
Yes, sir.
You know, I done talked to a lot of people that tell me, "Well, I ain't got a problem." I said, "Well, you got a problem because you admitting you don't have one. When we see you definitely got one."
And you mean to tell me that you allow something that take over your mind and body so bad that you forget about your children?
Yeah. Yeah.
You leaving them to fend for themselves.
You know what I would like? I would love to interview her. All of them, just to see what they mind. I want to see what their mindset is right now. See, you locked up now. See, you can't get it now.
But I give them about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Come down over it.
Because if you get them right now, it's gonna be shakes and you know it's.
But in 2 weeks,
you might have to use a muscle that you go to the gym and work out. Where you might have to go.
You ever seen that image in your mirror? Objects are closer than they appear. There's just smoke and mirrors. It looks big, but it's just deflated. But I look at it like when you let something take that kind of control over you, you're no longer thinking. All your thought is gone because we done heard on the news people say about crack. I done heard talking about angel dust, and they said, I don't know personally, but this is what I'm saying. They said they always trying to get to that first high. That high they had the first time. They always trying to get there. But you're never going to get to that one again. But you're going to keep taking it until you try to get to that.
That's what I remember. This is an old picture. Remember a Little House on the Prairie.
Oh yeah.
And you know they had one episode that I think it was the oldest son. He got hooked on cocaine. And his dad eventually found out about it. And so he kept him away from it. And I mean, man, he was at home would be shaking and convulsions, throwing up, everything because it was trying to get it out of the system. So I don't, and we know that movies show a lot of stuff. We don't know how true everything that we see in the movies, but we know some of it is true.
Some of it is definitely true.
Just the reaction that they'll have from coming down, but I mean.
But if you got on it, you can get off. There's no such thing as you can't. It's if you want to. But you got to have the desire, because I can tell you, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. But if I don't put any effort to put forth trying to do it, I'm just doing lip service. I don't want to, but I'm just talking about it. And these three individuals, and I don't judge, but based on the pictures I've seen, I could be dead wrong, I hope I'm wrong, they don't look like they have a desire to get off.
No, and actually, you remember the movie with Samuel Jackson?
Which one?
Black Snake Moan.
I vaguely remember it.
And there was a lady in there. Her appetite was so. In order for Samuel Jackson to help her, he had to chain her and isolate her from the environment that was bringing the temptation to her.
So you gotta remove her from that. Basically, she be removed from that situation.
Give her a fresh start. And now, if she get a fresh start and go back,
then she don't want. She don't want.
She gave up.
It's so easy to, and that's one of the things that I know firsthand. It's easy to quit. and say, I don't want to do it. I just give up. It's easy to give up. It's harder to say, I'm going to fight through it.
Yeah.
But in order to, when you get hooked on those kind of drugs, it's a withdrawal stage.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to have to go through something to get off of it. And a lot of times I heard some of these rehabilitation centers, they put you on another drug to get you off that first one.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep doing it until you don't have the desire anymore. Mm-hmm. But what happens when they take you off the first one, then you get hooked on the second one? I'm sure it done happen at some point.
Yeah. You see, we had a big, we had a big thing with opiates now.
Oh yeah, opiates
so,
is real big.
Man, they got some of that. Some medicine, they gave me some medicine one time, man. I had to get myself off it.
Yeah, you have to.
The medicine was actually putting me in worse shape than what I was dealing with.
It's just like on TV, they give you this for this, but the symptoms are this. The symptoms are the what do they call it? The side effects are worse than what I'm dealing with.
Now, here's the sad side effect of that medicine was causing me to lose weight. And I
ain't got no weight to lose, so ain't nothing to lose.
But it took my appetite, everything.
Don't tell them medicine because they'll use it as a weight loss program at this point, like they did those.
I don't think they want to use it. but it had me so my head because I was having migraines. So then it went from you trying to deal with the migraines that why am I losing weight?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to look the medicine you got me on. Now they want to run all the tests, give me hard tests, stress tests, and all of this right here. I done did the stress test for so long. The woman said, "Oh, you done already passed. You can stop."
It's so I see, but it's just to the point that I had a gentleman that I grew up with that was smoking. I'm talking about that, and they told him, "Look, yeah, you gonna pass away if you don't quit smoking." He stopped cold turkey. And I know a lot of that's easier said than done. It takes a lot of willpower to do something like that. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to drugs, it don't quite work. It's not as simple as just cold turkey. I don't know many people who stop smoking dope cold turkey. Now I ain't saying that there are some who haven't done it. We don't know. But from what I was told to some of the people that I've talked to that used to deal with it, it's a process.
Yeah.
And they told me it's a long going process because it's just like you mentioned, the hunger. It's like you need it.
Yeah.
And they'll do anything for it.
And the sad case is that hunger caused these children here to be neglected thoroughly till that you imagine this 1-year-old walking around, the maggots in the bottom.
You know what
now you know they're in the baby. Hopefully the acid that's in our stomach was strong enough.
Now the good thing about it, with that bottle, I don't know if the maggots can get through.
Why?
They ain't the hole is very tiny, ain't it?
Some of them. But
well, I'm hoping this one is.
Well, now, here's the sad part about it. Ain't no telling how old the ball is.
No, that's
because
true.
Evidently they ain't care. So I'm not going out and getting my baby a new bottle.
I look at it like,
not saying that it couldn't have a nipple, but those you have different size nipples. Some was like
well, if maggots in it, how long was it setting up? And
that's even worse. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, my advice to parents is, and obviously these are not. They didn't even care. I didn't call them parents this time. Your first priority is your kids.
Yes, sir.
That should be any woman, man, I don't care. Your first priority is kids. You should never put your kids in that situation. Yeah. Your kids depend on you.
Yes, sir.
You the only thing they have. You're their defense. You're basically their bodyguard. And when you let them down like this, That is the one thing I know about small kids, they store a lot of information real quick, and they store it and they remember it. Don't think this ain't gonna be. They remember this.
Yeah.
So this is what you want them to remember of you. Whether you want to or not, this is what they remember.
I don't even think they should ever see him again.
I agree. Not when you're doing like this.
I don't even think they should even have a picture.
Okay. Well, I agree. I don't think they should ever see him again because they need rehabilitation. They definitely need to be in a rehab because they got a problem. Now the problem is you can't force them to go in one. Don't you have to volunteer?
Yes. Well, yeah. But if you're, well, I don't know, because, it's just...
Can you just be mental?
But it's many drugs in prison as it is
it is.
Out here on the street, so send them to a prison where they can still have a chance to get drugs.
But they don't.
I'm a strong believer that people can change.
Absolutely.
But it's up to them.
Will they change?
The willpower for them has to be there for them alone first.
All I know is
you have to show somebody that
you deserve it.
And just because I see you doing something a little different, I can't run up there, and I'm going to snatch you up. No, you need to struggle in that area to come out of there for a while.
Well, you need to be. This is not no 1 month process.
Right.
This is a long term, 6 months to a year process, and even then,
it could even be longer.
Right, absolutely. I just think you shouldn't be.
New Jack City Pookie.
Yeah.
After Ice Cube got him off, Ice T got him off of the street.
Mm-hmm.
Got him rehabilitated, got him up, and he went in there and wanted to help Ice T. They got pulled right back in there.
So even if they get out of jail and you go back into the same environment, what would make me think that you won't fall back into the same situation you was in before?
My thing is to focus on getting you out of the environment and get you to stay away from the environment.
They need help. Yeah. And they need long-term help. And the only way you would get those kids back, it'll be a 2 to 3 year process, and it's be supervised. Well, I say you shouldn't get them back, in my opinion.
Like I said, I do believe people can change. And we don't know the age, but you got, man, we really now we got babies having babies.
I just don't trust nobody.
And it's up to you, whatever. But a lot of kids having kids that don't even know how to raise them. And that pattern is continually to being taught. Mm-hmm. Because if I wasn't trained, raised properly in a respectful manner, however, my child, if I go out and have a child, guess what? I'm going to teach them the same way. Now, and not everybody that necessarily act that way was raised right. But guess what? When they got older and got in life, they made a choice.
Yeah. And they made a choice too. And their choice is pitiful. You choose to put them drugs over your kids.
Don't insult pitiful.
Well,
I can't give a word right now. I'm just.
I got a word.
I can't give a.
I got a word, but I can't say the word.
I got about 25.
Well, they need, and they deserve every one of those 25. They deserve because you don't put your kids in a position where they can't win, and you just put them in a position where there's no success. What happens if they grow up and they get on that same drug? It's in their system now. You can take it out.
Well, there have been stories of that kids that have been, mothers have been drug addicts or whatever, been born, that even now they have having to treat the child with a little bit of that type of drug. Because it can't,
That's sad state of affairs, what it is.
Yeah.
Because you don't give a child a chance. You didn't give them any chance. You took all their chances away from them.
And even you never know, just like you never know if a child will ever grow out of where they don't have to. So you kind of to a degree them predestined their lives.
Yeah, you don't know their life.
We hope that that they get up and strengthened.
Yeah, that's all you can hope. But Mr.
And then
White,
make better choices.
this was a quick 30 minutes. But these 30 minutes just fly by. I'm talking about they go by just so doggone fast. But we'll be back next week, same time, same place, with yours truly, Anthony Knight.
Christopher White.
And this is the Faith and Hour. You know, I can't, it says Faith and Workout. I don't know why I keep leaving the work out, but it's Faith and Workout. Peace. See you next week.